Hello, everyone. Shu Allegra here. Welcome back to these author interviews that I've been doing lately, and it's been a privilege for me to now just to know these authors and call them friends, but also in addition to that, to collaborate with them on different projects. So today I have another one of those awesome friend of mine, and I'll let Stephanie introduce herself and let us know a little bit about who she is and what she does.
Yes. Hi, Chu. Thank you so much for having me on here. I'm so excited. So, my name is Stephanie Miller. I am a personal and spiritual growth coach, an author, and a speaker. My ministry is called Butterfly Beginnings, and I work with women who are really ready to transform into who God has called them to be, either from a self imposed transformation and transition that they've gone through, or something that the world has thrown at them that they are just struggling to adapt and focus on, and just keeping hope in Christ as the center and the focal point. And ironically enough, my first debut published book is also a butterfly related, The Butterfly Blueprint: How to Renew Your Mind and Grow Your Faith. Again, just talking about spiritual growth journey in terms of a butterfly life cycle, from an egg to a caterpillar to a cocoon, and then to a beautiful butterfly, and what it looks like to emerge as a new creation in Christ. Personally, I am a military wife, and as we are recording this, it is Veterans Day. So, yay, happy Veterans
Yes.
Day to all who have served and who currently
Mhm.
serve. And I am a mom to two toddlers officially. My youngest one just turned one, so I guess he's officially a toddler now. And we live in the beautiful state of Colorado. So, that's a little bit about me.
Yeah, well, thanks. Thank you for sharing, and thank to your husband, your entire family for serving. Because
Yes,
when
thank
someone
you.
serves in in the armed forces, any branch of it, it's not just the spouse; it's the entire family. Because the sacrifice that you make, that no one will, most people are not even aware of. So thank you all, your entire family, for your service.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yes, it is definitely a joint effort. It's all of us together.
Yeah, yeah. So let's talk a little about your writing journey. Like, how did you get into writing?
So, writing for me really started at a young age. I always was a reader. I loved reading. And then I really loved kind of creative writing as a child. I did a lot of like
Mhm.
creative storytelling and creative writing.
Yeah.
As an adolescent, as a teenager, that transitioned into poetry. I wrote a lot of poetry. I processed all of my strong emotions and my strong feelings through poetry.
Mhm.
And then from there, it just kind of springboarded into writing and blogging. I just started a blog when I started my coaching ministry journey back in 2016. I started blogging regularly, and it just feels like it was just mini steps. You take the blogging and you write about circumstances that you're going through, just sharing your story, being authentic, and just allowing other people to see who you are through your writing, and hopefully feel inspired and encouraged to start being transparent and authentic themselves.
Yeah.
And then from the blog post, I just started dabbling in writing sample chapters and then writing my own book. So it really was just kind of this one after the other after the other. But writing has always been a huge passion of mine. And I just kind of decided, okay, I am a good writer and I'm going to do this. And that's exactly what I did.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. And you and I met through writing
Yeah.
when we both collaborated in one of Carrie, it's a very good, a mutual friend of ours. I may have Christ devotional book, and that's kind of how we met. It was through that project, writing our stories and giving hope to other women through our writing. So, and since then, like the rest is history, right? And
Yes.
kind of then you supported me through my launch of my stress relief book, and then I was able to support you through your launch of your book. And now you are joining the Made to Overcome series with Grace Consulting, writing some of a collaboration project. Actually, the one you joined, it's not a Made to Overcome. Sorry about that, but it's I Quit. That's the one
Yeah.
you're working on now.
Yes.
So yeah, so it's just been, it's like you said, even with writing, whether it's individually or with a group or friend, it's like the more you say yes to things, the more things open up for you, and you just keep
Yes.
growing and growing. So awesome! For thank you again for sharing that. So when you are writing, no matter if it's a project, it's your blog or it's your a whole chapter in the collaboration project, or maybe if it's your own book, when you're writing, like, where do you find the inspiration and how do you get into the flow?
So, writing for me really is about taking your life circumstances and your situation and I'm a faith-based nonfiction writer, so I really focus on how God is speaking to me through my circumstances or through a problem or struggle that I've had and had He has spoken to me, maybe
Right.
brought up certain scriptures to mind, but really just taking the most inspiration from just real world, practical, everyday, messy motherhood, things like that, and just kind of getting in the trenches. And I'll give you a funny example. I was on a walk with my husband, and he was irritating me so much. He was saying things that were just so super irritating. But as we were talking and as I was listening to his statements and getting more and more infuriated, God was revealing to me that I had a pride issue that I needed to address. I needed to address kind of this idea of putting myself above him or putting my problems as not as big as his problems. And so I ended up writing about that. So a lot of the writing I do is just how God has been speaking to me, what God has teaching me. And so just through everyday just life and how I survive only through my hope in Jesus and relating that to my writing, because that's why I write. Honestly, it's for him and it's out of obedience for him. Definitely not in my own power whatsoever.
Totally agree there. And I think for those of us who do nonfiction, like I cannot dabble into fiction at all. It's just not my forte. And so for those of us who do nonfiction, like you said, it's just an everyday life that we just, we share with the world, and in hopes to give them hope, to point them, for those of us who write from a Christian angle. And I do a little bit of both, but through all my writing, hope is always the theme. And, and I find that as we say yes to being God's scribe, that He inspires us. Sometimes I feel like, really, God, I had to go through the situation because somebody else needs to hear this, right? And it's like, it's something that turns into a blog, it turns into, a post on social media, or it turns into a full book, or, full chapter
Right.
somewhere. Yeah, it's amazing how God just, uses our experiences, all of us, when we say yes to Him, that He uses all of us and all that we have for His glory and to serve others, to advance His kingdom. And that is, it's a joy to be part of that. It's really a joy. And as I'm saying this, I'm hearing my own kids laughing, outside the door here. And it reminded me, my first book that I wrote, solo book, the first time I actually published on myself, is finding God through everyday life. And literally it's devotionals that I written as my daughter was still young back then, and that was still sitting on my computer. And a lot of the stories, a lot of the devotional start, it's a real life experience that I went through. Like I said, the messiness of motherhood, right? Between the diaper change and the and the
Yes.
feedings and the, all the play, the clay, all the mug of it. It's, God was teaching me. And sometimes we look for God in this, the thunder and the lightning. He's like in the every little nitty gritty moment of your life, if we only have the eyes to see, right? So
Mm-hmm.
thank you for bringing that, bringing that to our awareness. I think, for all of us Christian, whether you're writing or not, we all have to be intentional by seeing God's hand at it. Every moment is a God moment if
Yes.
we choose to see. Yeah.
Amen.
So with all the writing you're doing, like right now, what are your current writing goals? Like, what are you working on right now, in the moment?
Well, as you mentioned before, I am working on my I Quit chapter for your book. It is I Quit Emotional Eating. Again, just fits perfectly in what you just spoke about, how we have to go through these circumstances and go through these struggles, but we learn so much and we're able to share what we learn and what God reveals to us in order to help others. So that's what I've been processing. Working on that chapter, finishing some blog posts. I've been doing some guest blog posts for other faith-based bloggers, either using some of my old blogs and kind of revamping or writing brand new material, as well as God actually did reveal to me the next title of my next book. Yeah, I know. It's exciting, but a little bit scary at the same time, right?
It always is. It always is. Honestly, it's just a mixed feeling. It's like, yes, it's great. Oh goodness, now I really have this charge. I have
Yeah.
to commit to it and go for it.
Yes, yeah. So he definitely, the title for my last book, The Butterfly Blueprint, did not come first at all. It was much later in the process. So now for him to give me this title, he hasn't quite prompted me to start working on that book, but it's definitely kind of in the back of my mind. So I'll be excited and I'll be ready and willing to start writing right here in this very spot. Right here's my writing zone. Um,
Also,
yeah.
Awesome. So usually this question that people wonder as soon as you put a book out, like, oh, when's the next one coming out? So I know, like, now you're at least announcing that you will be working on one that God already gave you the title. Do you have a little inkling of when that book might be out? Is it like a 2021 book, or this is a 2022, or you're not quite sure yet?
So I'm not quite sure. My family is going to be making a huge move come the summer, so next summer.
Okay.
So we're just having to kind of transition, probably moving, and then having to transition and replant and everything like that.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure how that'll look. Then again, with my first book, I put it on the back burner last year because I got pregnant with my son. And then I picked it back up in January of this year. And I was like, all right, we're doing this. So when God says go, you go. So it could be like full, foot on the gas pedal, or it could be a little bit, take more time. I mean, I wrote this first book in a little over a month, most of it. So who knows if it's going to be the same process or not. I mean, I feel like God always likes to keep you guessing, and he likes to always keep you on your toes. But yeah, I'm really excited. I think it'll be more of a Bible study book. This one, the Butterfly Blueprint, was more of like a personal story. It had a lot of scripture. Well, Chu, I mean, you actually wrote an endorsement for the book. So it's something a little bit different. So I think God likes to take us out of our comfort zones, especially as writers. I think a big lesson is not to get too comfortable in what you're doing, because you will always be challenged to step out of your comfort zone. And just be ready and willing to do that, because you know that that's when you'll grow more as a person as well as grow more as a writer.
So true, so true. And and when you said about moving, I just remember, oh yeah, you are a military family. You move a lot. You could just where you called to, where duty calls you go, and the beauty of writing, it's like it's something you can take with you wherever, right? And it's
Yes.
just the flexibility of being able to write wherever you are. And it's I write in I'm in my office, but I write at home, I write in my bed, I write at doctor's office when I'm actually taking my kids to the doctor. Just tell my kids to even be in the hospital and I'm sitting in the bedside. I'm like, I can write. So that's the beauty of writing. It's flexible. You can take it wherever you can. So with now that you've written a book, you've been doing blogs and did a few collaboration projects already. What is something that you know now that you wish you knew then?
So writing is just the smallest piece of like a whole book process and like the publishing process and everything. So writing is actually, for me, it was the easiest part to sit down and write. And it was kind of all of the steps after that, especially doing a book launch and marketing and learning the ins and outs. And it's definitely a lot more involved in that. Even when your book is out and it's published and it's officially released on Amazon, your work is not done. You have so much more to do, to keep encouraging people to be able to see your book and view your book. Just there's so many intricacies of publishing and of writing. And the thing is you have to believe in your book, and you have to firmly believe in the message that you have. And I struggle with kind of this imposter syndrome. So for me, it has really taken me to the next level to be confident and to know that I am writing what God has called me to write, and it is what is the message that he has given me to spread to others. So I need to do my due diligence and take responsibility for the talents and the steward my gift as best as I can in order to be able to share that message with the world. But I tell you what, you're going to come up with like a ton of different like opposition and resistance, and it's going to make you think, well, what am I doing? Like, should I really be writing? Like, I don't have anything new to write. My story doesn't
Mhm.
matter. And it's just encouragement to know that it's a lot harder to kind of persevere and press on when you're feeling that, and it'll definitely test your ability to persevere and to finish that race. And I think that's why so many people who start books might not finish them, because they let
Mhm.
themselves get
Mhm.
caught up in that I'm not good enough, or I don't know what I'm doing and everything like that. And I would just encourage you who have written books or want to write a book or think you have an idea, just press on through it, see that through, because there's 100% a reason that you have that idea, and that spark. And it just takes your willingness and obedience to kind of follow through with that to see a beautiful book baby come to life.
Yeah, so true. And I think that people underestimate the personal growth that goes through, through the process of becoming, a writer or author. Many of the people that I get to work with, well, I'm publishing the book or just helping with part of the writing experience. We do so much of that personal development that I didn't even realize. Recently, one of a good friend, that we helped publish her book. She's like, "Oh my goodness, Shu, I never knew that I needed you more than I just now realized that I needed you more than I actually thought I would." And it was those things like, getting through your own belief system, going through your own, like, negative belief that keep holding you down, going through time management, going through, even not just time management, but managing yourself, so that writing becomes a priority in your life,
Yeah.
and there's all those little things that you don't think about, and then, like you said, on the book, writing is good, and it's the easy part, and then, the whole process of publishing, promoting it, marketing it, and that never stops. Once you're a writer, you should be promoting your work every time and anytime, like that, all the time. So it's something that you're always going to be doing, and it's good to not do it alone. That's like also my advice to people, new writers. And it took me so long to get my first devotional out, because I was trying to do everything by myself. Some of the devotional I were written like 5 years, prior to the book being published, and just sitting on my computer, because I was struggling for that. And even when I decided to actually write it, I was still trying to do anything, the cover. And yes, I've learned so much now, 20 some books later, but at the same time, it's like, I, even now that I know more and I can do it, I still delegate a lot of the process, because it frees my time, and I let other people do the genius, and that.
Yeah.
Something that I can take, time to create a cover, and I still do for some of my clients who want my personal touch. But then, and the time that it takes me to do promotional graphics, for example, when I delegate that to a graphic designer, she does it just like that. And like, sometimes I say, we need this. And then within like half an hour, I get in my email. I'm like, how did you do that? Like, that was so quick. But because that's her expertise, it comes natural to her. It comes quickly. Just like for me, you and I speaking and writing comes naturally, right? So even when you can do the extra stuff, if it takes you too much time and it's buggy, it's literally like, strenuous. It feels strenuous and stressful and frustrating. It's okay to let other people help you, especially when you're starting, from the get you're starting. Don't let all the extra stuff that are hard to do, or all the other stuff that you don't want to do, get in the way of you getting that story, that book out, because somebody else is depending on that book without you even knowing it.
Absolutely.
People are waiting for that message without even knowing it. So if you delay just because you are struggling internally to believe in the message, that you're putting out, or believe in yourself, believe in those goals, or you can't find the time to get the writing done, you are literally doing someone else a disservice. You're doing the universe, a
Yeah.
disservice. And if you're writing as God's scribe, you are also, now being obedient if He called you to do that, to work on that project. So that's a little bit of advice for new writers and new authors. Do you have anything else you think that new authors need to know?
So the very first project that I worked on, it was the collaboration. It was the I'm Enough in Christ devotional. And I have two pieces of advice. Number one, don't be put off and don't be freaked out by all of the red ink or all of the corrections, all of the revisions that an editor will send you back and give you back.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, make sure you have a seasoned author friend, if you can, to be able to kind of talk through and work with and process what's going on. Two, you
Mm-hmm.
remember this. I know I'm speaking to a situation exactly that I know you remember, where it was kind of well, there's all this red, like I shouldn't be writing. I'm a terrible writer because they have all these
Mm-hmm.
corrections. And it helps so much to have someone who has gone through the writing process and knows kind of the ins and outs of editing and revision and the purpose of that, in order to be
Mm-hmm.
able to basically just fine tune your voice. That's all they want to do when they edit. They just want to fine tune your voice and just sharpen it to make it as poignant as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And so to have seasoned writers be able to come alongside of you as friends, fellow co-writers and journeyers in your situation and in your progress, then it's so much more helpful, and it saves you so much time freaking out when you have someone, no, wait a minute, let's bring it back down and let's
Yeah.
remember the purpose of the editor,
Mm-hmm.
and then how that relates to your writing. So I would just encourage new writers to not be put off and not to think that your writing's horrible by all of the
Mm-hmm.
edits and revisions that you get. If anything, to take that time to edit and revise it means that they really believe in you and they believe in
Mm-hmm.
your words
Mm-hmm.
as
Mm-hmm.
a writer, and they are just doing their due diligence to sharpen that.
Yeah, yeah, so true. Like, and I know I'm saying that's so true. Just like I echo what you're saying here. And yeah, and that's why one of the things that we've been doing here at Grayson Consulting, which you're part of as well, is being part of the Purposeful Writers Collective, where we have a group where if you want, you have questions, you can just put in the group and everybody will jump in. And not just me, but everybody in the group can jump in and share resources. And even if you have something that you want someone to know a friend to review, that people are actually supporting one another even outside of that group, and we
Yeah.
all need that. You
Yes.
all need that, like, no two are better than one, no matter what it is that you're working on or doing in life. You need that support. And yeah, and editing, actually, like you said, when the editors take the time to review your work and fine tune it, it's for your benefit. It's so that you
Mhm.
can grow as a writer, so that you can own your craft, and that's it's good for you. So look at it
Yes,
as something good, because they could have rejected your story if you were not a good writer, right? Or if it
exactly.
didn't fit into the project. But if they took your project, yeah, they took your story into the project you're working on, and they're taking the time to do all this work, it's because they want to help you, and because they believe that the message is more important than all the other stuff that you see, all the red or blue or green it is that you see on the page.
Yeah.
And I also tell people, if I can write and have all these books published, personally, and as a collaboration project, that anyone can do it. You can hear my accent. English is not my first language, but guess what? All my books are written in English.
Yeah.
So you have no excuse. You have no excuse. Just get the message out. Get the writing done. And the others who, again, just like what I was saying with the graphics, all the graphic design, for example, same thing goes with editing. You get your message out. There's others who have the extra skills to fine tune it for you.
Yes.
And so don't let that stop you. Yeah. Well, thank you. Before I let you go, I want to ask you, where can people find you? Because I know how to
Yes.
find you, but people might want to read your book and follow your blog, and know how to connect with you beyond this podcast.
Absolutely. So my website is, I know we'll type it in the bio and everything. We'll have all of the links available. But my website is www.butterflybeginnings, which is one word, .net. And there you'll have access to my blog, which a goal, and I'll say it on here to help keep myself accountable, is to blog at least twice a month. So you should have a new post at least twice a month from me following there. I also have a free resource, an ebook. It says the 3 keys to spiritual growth and transformation that you can pick up. And then it just gives you all of my information there. On social media, I am limited. I limit myself strategically on Facebook and Instagram. So Facebook and Instagram are the 2 social media outlets that I'm most active on. My handle or username, or however you say it, is at Stephanie Miller Coach, which is one word. And so we'll put all the links there too. And the book, The Butterfly Blueprint, I'll show you again, how to renew your mind and grow your faith, is available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble as well. And there'll be links there. So yeah, that's how you find me. And then just a real quick note, remind me too, when I get my revisions back from the I Quit chapter that I told you about, not to freak out about all of it.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. I need a reminder too sometimes. And I think it doesn't matter how many books you've written, how long you've been writing. If you want to continue writing well, it's okay to let others look at it. And like you said, you have done that. You do it beautifully, and that's part of the process. Whether it's sending it to a friend like myself to look at you, can you look at this and let me know what you think? It's okay to do that. Or even for those people who might not have someone, join a group. We, like I said, there's an open invitation there to join the writers, the Purposeful Writers
Mhm.
Collective, and we're there. Anyone there can support you. All right. Well, thank you so much, Stephanie. It's always a pleasure to chat with you. And for everyone listening, we'll put our links there so that you can go and follow her. We'll also add the link to the writers group for those who are interested. It's totally free to be part of the group. Yes, there's over programs that we run at Grayson Consulting for writers who are paid programming, but the group, being part of the group itself, is free. All right. Well, God bless. Nice having you here today.
Thank you too. Yes, go join the Purpose Writing Collective. It's awesome.
Thank you.